Hello students, welcome back to this sessions on understanding what was the impact of high impact revision sessions 2023 with respect to prelims 2023. Now in that particular series, we had seen the number of questions that were given, and we had also discussed and we had also seen a sample size of what were the nature of the questions that were reflected from the notes in the context of geography, in the context of environment, in the context of SNT. In this particular video, we will look into the nature of the questions that were asked in the context of, or what was the impact with respect to polity as well as economy. Right? Now, looking at the question and coming into the discussion, when we look at the one of the very favorite areas of UPSC, that is the places in news. And when you look at the places in news, we see that one particular question was asked with respect to the Kachin and Tigray region. And when you look at this Kachin and Tigray region, again it was directly reflected in the notes, because this particular session, this particular notes was fundamentally the notes of HIR current affairs sessions. As we know that in the context of HIR, we have the knowledge component with respect to the static dimension, and also the knowledge component with respect to the current affairs dimension, that is the 25 hours will be done on current affairs in the month of the May. That fundamentally gives you the consolidation, and you see that, and it was observed, the same sessions which were done for 2023 prelims had more than 5 to 6 questions in the matter of 25 hours. So that means the impact of the current affairs sessions which were conducted as part of HIR sessions 2023 was very high with respect to the number of questions being asked in the examination. So again, when you look at this particular aspect, so it was again directly given in the notes, right? Because you see the other places were also given, and as part of that, and places doesn't mean we give an exhaustive list, no. It is fundamentally with respect to the important nature of the places were supposed to be identified, and those were given. And I think similar kind of question that you would find in the context of regions, that is with respect to the Nagorno-Karabakh region and also the Kherson. And when you look at this, the same thing was given in the context of the notes of the current affairs, right? So this was what was the current affairs notes which was given in for HIR 2023. Now the next question that we would see in the context of the flag code, and when you look at this flag code, again it was imported in news, so that year in current affairs we had discussed. And when you look at this, it was talking about the flag code of India, and when you look at both the statements, that is, one, it is talking about the standard sizes, the other one is with respect to the ratio. And when you look at the notes statement that is given here, doesn't restrict the size of the flag but sets a ratio of 3:2. That means from the basis of single statement, you could have answered this particular question by understanding the statement 1 was wrong and statement 2 is right. So in that context, when you solve this question, the option would turn out to be D. Statement 1 is incorrect and statement 2 is correct. So that means this is the nature of exam-oriented content that is being provided in HIR sessions. Again, I'm re-quoting the disclaimer here. I am not telling that every statement, every question that is asked in the prelims will come from HIR sessions 2024. We are fundamentally saying that we are going to take you closer to the examination through HIR sessions. We are going to provide the exam orientation, not only the exam orientation, but we will also provide exam-oriented content, right? Now, we'll move on with the further reflections here. And when you look at this, there were 2 questions which were asked on the context of president elections. And as I keep stating, we have something called a snippet form of note making. And when you fundamentally try to understand, we see that most of the statements that were given as part of this 2 questions, we were able to reflect from the notes, right? That is with respect to the elected MPs, that is with respect to the disputes of the elections, and that is with respect to the vote value on the formula that is which is generally used. And if you are able to understand this, you were able to solve 2 questions. I think I will show you a similar question, question number 80, as well as, yes, question number 36. Both of these questions could have been solved from the snippet form of notes that was given on president and the presidential elections. That was again a reflection from the HIR notes of 2023. That means we are fundamentally understanding that the exam-oriented content is being provided to take you closer to the cutoff, to take you closer to the cutoff in the context of prelims examination. A similar kind of approach will be done for HIR 2024, right? Because the impact of HIR 2023 was in its real sense very, very high with respect to the amount of questions that were reflected, as well as in the context of PYQ analysis, and the opportunity that the prelims 2023 provided with respect to application of techniques that were discussed in the class. Then moving forward, we will see, yes, this was another question, because whenever I'm talking about the subjects, and I will not only talk about the subjects, or I will not only talk about the knowledge in those sessions, but I will also give some general principles for most of the subjects. So in that context, what happens is, when you observe this particular notes which was done with respect to your polity, in that I had dictated general principle 2. In most of the cases, constitution do not define the term, but it just mentions. Now, with that basic understanding of the general principle, for the reason, the logic behind that is constitution is already voluminous. Now, in that context, look at this second statement. Article 335 of the Constitution of India defines the term efficiency of the administration. That means it is contradictory in the context of general principle 2. So, the statement 2 is incorrect. So, in that context, I can arrive at the answer saying that statement 1 is correct and statement 2 is incorrect. Right? Next, we will look at one more such question. Look at this particular question with respect to the differences between finance bill and money bill. And when you look at this, I follow a tabular approach whenever it comes, the differences, whenever it comes, the minute or the nuances of certain dimensions are supposed to be understood. And in this context, you observe that we had discussed in HIR notes 2023 in the context of polity with respect to the differences between the money bill and the finance bill, and the statements which were given in this were direct reflections of these notes. So with that context, this is with respect to the polity dimension. Again, a question with respect to statutory bodies. And when you look at this question with respect to statutory bodies, we had followed a listing approach, and in this context, the list of statutory bodies as well as the constitutional bodies were dictated in class. So we see a similar kind of question appear in National Commission for BC, National Human Rights Commission, National Law Commission, and National Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission. So that means what is fundamentally happening in this context is we are moving closer to the exam oriented content. Now, when we look at the economy aspect, that is with respect to which one of the following is the sterilization, and sterilization as a word was directly defined in the current affairs notes of HR, right? This was the nature of the current affairs notes that was given last year. So look at this. Okay, so we talk about the sterilization definition which was directly dictated, and that is where you observe and you see that you will be able to mark the option in the exam. Again, a similar kind of thing, that is with respect to capital markets. And we had discussed and we had listed down the different instruments which are present under the money market as well as the capital markets. And here we would fundamentally differentiate initially in the class with respect to what is a money market, what is a capital market, and what are the different kinds of instruments. And on that basis, we will list down different kinds. And one such list was with respect to the commercial bills, and further the list was seen. So that fundamentally means what? Again, we will be able to identify the options which are right and which are oriented towards the question from our HR notes, right? Then moving on, one more question that which talked about the Indian global exports. And when we look at the figure that is being given, it is talking about 3.2% of the global exports. But in the current affairs classes, I had dictated that we would see that is with respect to India being the second largest producer, and the global exports proportion is less than 2%. Less than 2%. That means when you look at this less than 2%, it is in contradiction with the 3.2%. That means we will be able to eliminate that particular statement and arrive at the answer that the statement 1 is incorrect and the statement 2 is correct. That fundamentally means option D. So here, this is again reflection in the context of with respect to polity and economy. Now, what we will have to understand from this, the main purpose of this video is to understand that we are moving closer to the examination through HIR sessions. We are not claiming that whole of the examination is from our notes. Definitely not. We are very, very clear with respect to our claims, and when you look at this, we see that we are going to take you closer to the qualification mark of prelims examination through HIR sessions. And we are going to have HIR sessions for 2024 prelims starting from 26th November. Thank you.